Okay, here we are. This is number 6 of how to draw a Ferrari F12. And as you can see, I did quite a bit off camera yesterday. The way I did this is to try to make it so that you could see more of what I have done. And what I'm doing here is working on the lighter portions that are down near the lower part of the rocker panel. And you'll see that I'm just putting in the base coat of ink right now. What that is it's going around the things that I consider important, and I'm putting down the minimum amount of ink that would be required if there were no highlights in it. So what I'll be doing is putting this down one coat first. You see one actually. Now this is the second one that's going on top of it. And I'm trying to get it to the value that's approximately what the value is at the lower part of the front, just in front of the left front tire. And the reason I'm doing that is because just above this, there's a darker section. And that's near a cutout on the side, and that's why one's in shadow and the other one isn't. So there's a definite difference in color, and what I'm doing is the lighter one of the two, so that I have a boundary for the darker part. And it's coming along great so far, looking good. Really like the way this car looks. I think by the time we get done with it, it's going to be really spectacular with the highlights and the shading on it. But that's still for another day. We've still got more days to do on this. Anyway, you can see what I'm doing here. Like I say, I'm just trying to match that color up to the fender in front, and it may well end up that it's going to turn out darker when I do the final run through with the drawing. But I like to get it pretty close to where I think it's going to be to finish off, and by doing that, then I have a representative sample of what the tonal value range is going to be for the whole car. And that's what I'm doing now, is just trying to get up near the darkness that this will be for finally. Okay, going along so far so good. Going over a couple places just to get it even, which is the way I do this. Is I make a series of dots, and those dots become a line. And the reason that I do it that way is that it gives me the most even coverage. If I just did it with a whole bunch of dots, then I'd have some really dark spots and some really light spots. This way, it's far more uniform. If I put a whole bunch of dots down and those dots form a line, then putting another one on top of it makes it pretty even. And you see there are a couple places that I do have lighter spots that I'm going back on. But most often it comes out very close to being the same color all the way along. So that has worked out well for me, and I find that works better, especially if you're going to do a long section. It just makes it much easier to do than trying to do a little bitty series of dots and then trying to do the little series of dots next to it. This way it makes it almost as if it's one color. So might take a little bit longer to put it down, but it takes, in the long run, less time than going back and doing each individual spot, I think. And it's more comfortable this way too, because you can see it progressing along the side of a car or the front of a car or wherever it is. And then you can take a look at it, stand back from it, and see that it is all fairly uniform, and that makes it a lot easier on you. Again, I'm talking from the perspective of somebody who's trying to do it. If this is you on the other end trying to draw this car, I want to make this lesson as easy as possible so you can see just how simple this is to do. It takes a little bit of practice to get it going, but once you do it, it's just so easy to draw this way. And like I've said before several times, it's almost foolproof. You put a dot in the wrong place, it doesn't matter. You put a line in the wrong place, big problem with ink, or potential big problem. So I try to make it as easy as I can and try to make it look as good as I can. And this is what I've come up with. It makes me feel the best and most comfortable. Anyway, running out of time for today, but come on back tomorrow. We'll work on the darker section above this. We're getting close to working on the whole side. Anyway, I hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Goodbye.